So leaving Viana do Castelo, what a great place, although the festivities didn't make for the best night's sleep. Did okay though. We left first light, and as you'll probably see, it's a bit on the soupy side. Sun's shining through over there, so I'm hopeful that it'll burn off soon. Blue sky up above, so it's a very thin layer. Time will tell really. So sailing in the fog now. It's always a weird one. You'd think the wind would blow it away, but I guess the wind's blowing it in. Anyhow, got 2 reefs in the foresail, full main, and we're making, well, as I speak to you, just over 5 knots, so it's good speed. Just had a relatively close one with a Portuguese fishing boat. Come out of the fog and visibility is not as good as one thinks. It wasn't close, we missed each other comfortably, but you know, surprisingly quickly he appeared out of the fog, and I turned a bit and he turned a bit, and there was no problems. They were friendly, we waved at each other. But the other thing is that the fishing boats, and we've noticed this for a while, often, mainly even, don't have AIS. Up in Northern Europe they've all got AIS, it's lovely, but we noticed a couple in Biscay, crossing Biscay, and ever since more and more fishing boats are not AIS equipped, which is it's a bit of a worry, and I'm not really sure why that's the case. They should be, I think. At least it would be very helpful if they were. So I'm entering this harbour. That's the harbour wall over there. There's a red buoy. A harbour wall with some cranes on it. Well, sadly, the rest of that video is unhearable due to a load of background noise that was around as we were coming into the harbour there. But suffice to say, we did get in there. It was thick fog. As I came in, there was a cruise ship moored, but they sort of appeared out of the fog, and it's a working harbour, so a lot of shipping going in and out of there. And that's a little bit, you know, worries you a bit, it has to be said. But there were a few boats anchored that when I got close enough, I could actually see in through the fog. Showed me where the anchorage was. There is a marina there, but we anchored outside the marina wall that first night. The second day it was still foggy, so although it had thinned a bit, so we chose to motor into the marina and take a berth and wait for the fog to clear and better weather to continue. Well, today's a big one. We're just north of Porto. We've been in the marina a couple of days waiting on the weather, and today we're heading down to a place called Aveiro, and from there hopefully the next day to Figueira da Foz. I'm just going to turn the camera around, and you'll see we've had to wait a little bit because of this beastie coming in. And certainly have no intention of getting in his way. But the other concern is that according to the Orca website on, Facebook page, the orcas, or one group of orcas, and they're led by a matriarch that they can identify. One group of orcas has gone north. Sorry, I'm watching the cruise ships, I'm talking to you. It's come north and was last spotted near Figueira da Foz. They think they're heading up to Galicia. 2 days ago they were there, not far south from here, and they're heading north. So we will be staying in less than 20 meters depth, most certainly, because basically speaking, they're somewhere in the vicinity.
Over recent years, a group of orca that live in the seas off the Iberian Peninsula, that is Atlantic Spain and Portugal, have developed the unfortunate habit of interacting with boats. These interactions often lead to damage to the boats. We're not sure why the orca are doing this, if it's play or if it's some attempt to steer boats away from the tuna stocks that the orca hunt for their food, or if there is some other reason behind this. For most of the year, the orca live in the Bay of Cadiz area, the south coast of Portugal and Spain, through to the Straits of Gibraltar. But in late summer, they show a tendency to migrate north and head up the west coast of Portugal to the Galicia region of Spain. There are various apps and Facebook groups that report the positions of the orca, so boaters are informed of their whereabouts. And unfortunately, we learnt just a day before we were heading down that the orca were moving north.
So just to repeat what I was saying earlier, when the cruise ship was coming in and then there was another big ship behind that, kept me a bit preoccupied. But yeah, we're heading down. We're just about on the 20-metre line, just edged under it actually. I'm heading in a little bit at the moment. And the reason is because on the Facebook Orca interaction group, they said that one of the main groups that does the interactions, attacks one might like to call them, was spotted not far south of here. So from what is for us 2 days sail south, and they were spotted there the day before yesterday, heading north. The hope is, at least my hope, and I think the theory was, that they're heading up to Galicia. You know, hope for me at least. A very selfish bit of hope that, but they're heading up to Galicia. So should be passing through here, and hopefully have already passed through here, but I don't know this. What we do know is that they were spotted not far from here 2 days ago. So that's a worry, obviously. So we're staying under 20 metres, which means we have to curve around a bit around the coast. But the good thing is, it is possible to do that here. Whereas further north, in Galicia, it's basically impossible to stay under 20 metres. Basically impossible. So we are very lucky in that we've got this far, and now it is possible to stay under the 20-metre line. So yeah, that's the orca news. It's a worry, of course. But do what you can to avoid it, and as I say, hopefully they've already headed up. Apparently they were heading north quite quickly, and this is one pod, and I believe there are 2 pods that I believe they carry out the interaction. So the whereabouts of the second one I don't know at the moment, but this area is now classed as low risk, so it's been upped in its risk assessment from no risk to low risk. Low sounds good, but no sounds better, obviously. Trying to film dolphins. Hey, hello dolphins! Playing around, aren't you?
And in the words of the wonderful George Harrison, isn't it a pity? You know, seeing dolphins on the rare occasion that you see a whale is one of the joys of sailing, and it would be wonderful to see an orca, but not here, please. Not here. It would be a tense moment if you did spot one in this part of the world. And that brings us to what we can do to avoid them. And as I've already mentioned, the advice is to stay in less than 20 metres of water depth, where that's possible. It is often possible. It brings you in fairly close to the coast, and that often means that the ocean swells are being kicked up a bit, so it's a less than comfortable ride. But you know, it is often possible where you've got sandy beaches that come in out gently. Where there are steep cliffs, it is not possible. As I mentioned, in Galicia, it's I think it would be impossible to stay in under 20 metres in Galicia. So stay under 20 metres where it's possible. In the event of an attack, it seems that the orcas are put off by unpleasant noises. For example, lowering your swim ladder and striking it with a metal object of some sort to create that kind of jarring noise seems to put them off. People talk about playing loud music, heavy metal, if you, well, I guess you've got it if you've got Spotify or whatever. Yeah, that sort of thing. Noise seems to discourage them. Otherwise, there's not a right lot you can do, really. I think the interactions, some are short, some are longer. They do end up in damage to the boats. A few boats have been sunk, so it's serious stuff and a major worry.
Well, food of champions. It's chocolate muesli with milk. So it's about 10:30 now. Time for a bite of breakfast. That's where I normally have a, you know, a craving to eat something. And then in the afternoon, maybe a bit of fruit, as I say. And that does me. And then have some dinner when I get in, when the anchor's down. Keeps it simple. There's some seriously tidal water here. It's entering the harbour at Aveiro. Couple of fishing boats going in, water boiling all over the place. So we're scooting in, doing 6 knots. We'll give that a bit of room. The motorboat's coming straight through there, he's cool. There's quite an eddy there. Good. Let's start going in.
So 7:30 in the morning, we've decided to give ourselves another hour today, start a little later, which is nice. Looks like it was foggy earlier anyhow, it's just clearing now. Up, starting to get ready. So I've organised the things I'll take out into the cockpit, which is my hat, sailing gloves, phone, knife, sunglasses. I've just switched on the instruments and you just heard the collision warning beeping because somebody else around here's got their AIS on. I haven't, mine's off, we're on stealth. I'll go and switch that off. For whatever reason, a lot of boats, sailboats or pleasure boats don't seem to switch their AIS off when they're moored. So whenever you're approaching a marina, it's just hundreds of AIS messages. You can barely see the marina, you have to actually switch it off to be able to see where you're going because people are in the marina tied to the dock with their AIS on. I don't understand why that is, but it seems to be a very common thing. Anyhow, so collision warning is off on the plotter, so instruments are on, which means I've got feed to the autopilot. And now I should go out, put the autopilot in position, the tiller pilot, take off the sail ties, and we'll be nearly ready. I've lit the stove already today, kettle on in its pot clamps. So we'll have a cup of tea or coffee. I think this morning I fancy tea. Get that done, put it in a flask. I've got a nice little thermos flask here, which I only use for tea. Should make some, or fill that with tea. So we've got that to take with us on the way. Little hint of fog out there as you'll see, but not too bad. I've got to take the tiller cover off, untie the tiller. Not too bad because we're anchored today, so that makes getting her ready not so much work. Yesterday we left the marina. Obviously, when we left, had to get all the fenders in, dock lines in, all that tidying up. Had to unplug the electric cable before we left. Yeah, those are normal things, aren't they? But from anchors, not so much to prepare. But nonetheless, it takes 15-20 minutes to get it ready. Also, in here on the quarter berth, I have couple of things that are permanently there really, so my harness lays there whenever I need it, fowlies are there and a towel. So, and I'll put the upper hatchboard in here when we go, the lower hatchboard will stay in place. And just 3 more things I like to do, well I have to do before we go. First one's turn the motor switch on that. And then like to do is in here I like to turn off the salt water supply to the pump, so there's no danger of the engine sucking air back through the pipe, back through the spout. And in the heads here I like to turn off the sink drain just in case. I've taken the covers off the compass and the plotter already, so nearly ready.
And we're leaving now. Got the tide with us, so we're doing 7 1/4 knots. coming out of here, a bit like a cork out of a bottle, really. There's quite a flow in this river. Well, it's fun all the time, it doesn't go wrong. There's a bit of a potato patch out here. There's a shallow spot, and yeah, it's rough right up here. It is pretty lumpy. Try and work our way around it. So it's the second day of this series of hops. Probably be a third one tomorrow. Today we're heading to a place called Figueira de Foz, or my Portuguese pronunciation is no doubt shocking. But anyhow, something like that. And this place, Figueira de Foz, is the last place that there's a confirmed sighting of one of the pods of orcas that interacts with boats. Now, I believe, and there was a post on the orca group yesterday that suggested the same, that they're actually gone north and they're actually now up in Galicia. I believe that to be quite likely, and I certainly hope it's true. But, you know, we are staying firmly under 20 metres. I mean, 44 feet of water now, about 15 metres. So, you know, keep it in shallow, which is what all the recommendations say. Well, so far so good. However, the orca avoidance isn't finished yet, and we have to continue with it as we work our way south from there. But I'm going to leave you there. Thank you for watching, and as ever, massive thank you to the lovely, lovely people who support us via Patreon and PayPal and make this whole project possible. I'll talk to you soon. See you next time. Bye.